Metallica creates, we create for ourselves. And we know, or have learned along the way, that if we do what we do for us, then it has a purity, and that makes for the best Metallica.
I'd say the ultimate goal of anything that Metallica does is accept the challenge. We're very fortunate to have survived, and I don't know how many bands are able to have a 30-year career anymore. We're grateful to still be around, and if it still feels right, we'll still do it, no matter what anyone says.
Welcome to the world of Metallica, you know? Anything can happen at any moment.
Throughout the whole process, we were continuously changing the storyline. When I looked at the poster and saw that all four of us got writing credits, I thought, all right, man, a different thing to put on my resume.
The idea was always to try to create a film that was unlike anything that anybody's ever seen. It's a dramatic film that's set around the backbone of a concert.
It's a surrealistic journey, surrealistic nightmare. It really takes you on an adventure, a bit of a roller coaster ride.
This is a whole nother beast. It's exciting, it's fun, and why not?
I called my husband and I said, honey, what do you think about me doing a movie with Metallica? And he said, Metallica is America's greatest band. And I said, sweetheart, we have been married more than 20 years and I have never heard you talk about Metallica. And he said, I don't have to talk about it. It's just true.
I met Nimrod, and when I explained over tea to Nimrod what it was we were trying to do, he just nodded along. There was a madness in his eyes that I responded to, and he looked like he really not only got it, but he was game for anything. He was just ready to rock and to do whatever, and that's the Metallica spirit, which is just jumping out and figuring it out as you're falling.
One thing that I think studios really get wrong is the micromanagement. They suffocate the filmmaker before the film even begins. And I've always responded to people who say, here it is, this is what we want, don't mess it up.
Tripp is a roadie for the band, and he's kind of like an errand boy, and he's just a mega fan. He like lives, breathes, and will die Metallica, and he'll do anything for the band. In the beginning of the movie, he really hopes that this time he can just watch the concert, because that's what he really wants to do, but then he gets sent on a trip for this bag, and he has to basically go through hell and back to try to bring this bag back to the band before the concert's over.
It's a dark journey. I like the fact that it's a Metallica fan who's surrounded by this madness. Obviously, we have the perfect actor. There's not a lot of lines in this film.
Silence is one of my favorite things in the world. I would prefer not to talk most of the time. And when I'm acting, I think it's really all about the silences anyway. It's never really about what you're saying. So the fact that I was given a job where I didn't have to talk at all was really great.
I can't say enough good things about the acting in the film. Mine especially.
I'm playing in this room and the walls are shaking. It's like an earthquake. And that was my one true connection with Dane as he's walking by and he looks in that room and he sees me there. So I can say, yeah, I was in a scene with Dane DeHaan.
This film was just like one heavy stunt day after another, after another, after another. And it was physically demanding, it was exhausting. And Dane was a gentleman throughout, and he brought it every single time.
He is extremely intense, and he's got these eyes of a seasoned liver, like he's been through life a few times before, and he doesn't really have to say much. You can read his face extremely well, and he certainly did an amazing job at that.
I realized we have a great hero who is battling all these different elements, but you need a great villain to have a great hero. And it wasn't our intention to say good guy, bad guy. It was our intention just to show madness and chaos. But in that madness and chaos, there had to be someone perpetuating it, and that was the writer. But Tripp just represents this guy who dreamt of working with this great band, and he's given the opportunity, and he just doesn't want to let him down. And life started to imitate art at one point, because I felt like I was living the life of Tripp. You're given a chance by people that you admire, and you don't want to mess up. You know, you don't want to let him down. And then we felt like we were going through hell, much like Tripp goes through. It was just a tough shoot for very many different reasons, and it was a very difficult process. We were crashing cars, we were hanging people, we were having people dragged behind horses. We had a riot. We have a guy on fire fighting a mob in a choreographed fight for 30 seconds.
What we were trying to do was really use 3D more as an immersion tool, that type of thing where you're in the film rather than watching the film.
All I'm saying is it's a different concert experience altogether. It's something that I've never really seen anyone else do. I just love Tesla coils. And I love it when the electric chair comes down and those Tesla coils start firing.
Teslas go off, and they are so loud. You couldn't stand there for more than a minute without plugging your ears because it was just deafening. I remember thinking to myself, how the fuck is the Tesla coil and the music going to coincide? And then the concert started, you can't hear the Tesla coil. All you hear is the metal. That's another like testament to their sound, man. You know, it even drowns out something that sounds like an atom bomb going off.
To build this stage, have that type of sound system, and bring it to life in a film was really, really special. You know, it's great to be a part of that.
There's a good balance between the narrative and the concert footage. I mean, the concert footage could easily overpower the narrative, and the narrative can easily overpower the concert footage, but I think we strike a great balance there, and there's enough of a horror element to bring the narrative to a cool, darker place that I think sits pretty well.
This has been an opportunity to take our craft and push it as far as we've been able to push it in our careers. And that's an amazing occasion for us to be a part of something like that.
We've always advocated our fans to think for themselves, to make up their own opinions. And that's obviously goes right in line with the sort of the lyrics over the years. And this movie is right in line with that also. There are many, many, many ambiguous elements in this film. People should feel free to do with those what they want.
There's a train of thought that, okay, the public needs to be beat over the head with your mission, your intention behind the movie. I don't follow that all the time. I think people, when they're in the right space, in the right time, the art speaks to them.
Metallica for me was always fuck you music, and you know, growing up in a broken home and certainly not having an ideal childhood, it was my soundtrack, you know. I think for a lot of kids, they've represented that.
We hope that this film will be embraced on a worldwide basis in the same way that music is. I'm proud of the fact that this is a movie that nobody has ever seen before.
I love the fact that we're embraced as a part of your growing up. My ultimate goal, this becomes an underground film that lives on forever.
At the end of the day, it's all about fans having a great time and help create a diverse audience and expand the horizons for Metallica.
It was really fun, you know, I had a really great experience. It's unlike anything I've ever done, and it was an undeniably cool thing. I'll never do anything like it again, you know, it was just so unique.
I was explaining to the band the other day that I've worked on a lot of movies. I have never worked on a movie that I look forward to seeing from beginning to end every single time as much as I do this movie.
No matter how this movie is received, people will never take away from the fact that it's a really unique movie. And there is not a movie anywhere that's like this.